Hey, look, I got my water. I really need to shave. I just now noticed how crazy. Holy crap, I need to shave. All right. Hey, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the 96th episode of the show, Cleaning the Glasses Now, for you all. That one was really dirty. Hey, I hope you're doing well. Man, was someone screaming downstairs? We got a big show tonight. I've been planning this show since basically Friday. Happy birthday, Stumblefoot News. Oh my gosh, you know what that means? Stumblefoot News. Oh, I didn't even get that ready from earlier. I was supposed to have got that ready from earlier. Oh man. Hold on a second. I don't know. We need to start the show over. I need to see. I can't believe I didn't even get this ready in time. Hold on. Let me see if I can prepare this. Oh man. Well, I can't believe that. Stumblefoot News is having a birthday today. Isn't that amazing? With the he shares a birthday today with somebody. And if I can figure out how to work this here, I will show him who he shares a birthday with. Hold on here 1 second. Let me get this. We'll do this and Stumblefoot. Okay. Stand by here and we'll fix this to where it says where we do this right here. That would have been hilarious. Okay. So what are we gonna download this as? Download. Do. Okay, there it is. Open that up. You know, I got on the duck. I created the duck yesterday because I knew what we were going to be talking about, and I knew that this was going to be a big show. We've got a lot of great information to talk about, and I'll probably go in and cut all of this beginning off once we're all done here, so it will look like an actually good episode. I told a lot of people they needed to watch this. And so probably on the recorded version, we'll go in and make it look, we'll go in and make it look normal. But, I do want to tell everybody, we'll get to the big news here in just 1 second there. Okay, there we go. We got everything. We got everything downloaded. We got everything. We're getting ready to bring it up here on the screen. I've been planning this all day. I didn't know it was Stumblefoot's birthday. However, I did know today, if you're watching this live with all of us, if you're watching this live, or if you catch this on repeat before midnight, the day of the recording, Monday, December 11th, it's Indiana and Stumblefoot's birthday. Statehood Day for Indiana, established December 11th, 1816. 207 years old and Stumblefoot. See, that says that down there in the bottom there. Oh, I don't like that screen. I can't see you, Kate. Now there I can see you. I figured it out. I will also CGI out my beard too when I edit this. Yeah, that's right. So happy birthday, Indiana. Happy birthday, Stumblefoot. and anybody and everybody else whose birthday is today. I think I know somebody else whose birthday is today, or maybe tomorrow. Anyways, all right. So we're going to do this. That way I can edit it and make it look normal once the show is all over. So we'll do this. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Political Spotlight. I am your host, Kristopher H. Bilbrey, and this is the 96th episode of the show. The fight is on. Who are these people? Well, chances are some of you might know who these people are, and some of you might not. It's the Beatles minus John. John, who was killed in a go-kart accident. And this is the Threedles, as we call them. This is John Rust in the middle. A really bizarre egg farmer. We'll get into that in a minute. And then the doofus on the left is the worst attorney general in the state of Indiana's statehood. In all 207 years, the gentleman on my left, on Rust's right, is the worst attorney general ever, Todd Rokita. I'll keep the introduction just for you, Stumblefoot. Joey, that's perfect. And then the gentleman on my right, on John Rust's left, is we've got two of the most extreme in their areas. Rokita is the worst attorney general ever, and on the right we have Diego Moranis, whatever the nickname you choose to call him, is the shortest Secretary of State in all of Indiana's 207 years. This just in from producer Kate. I think he's the shortest Secretary of State ever, anywhere, in all 50 states, in all of the world. He might very well be the shortest. All right, folks, let's get in and talk about this. So, does everybody remember Happy Birthday to Ohio's little brother to the west? Does anybody remember last Friday when I came on and was really happy before we did an interview? It was kind of interesting, but we had some good news before that interview, and that was, we had a big ruling, a big ruling. Judge Dietrick ruled in favor of the Constitution. He ruled in favor of citizens. He ruled in favor of the state of Indiana. Oh my gosh, it was amazing what he did. Okay, he did this last Thursday. Well, then I was off Friday and Saturday and Sunday. Oh my gosh, what happened there? So we didn't get a talk until right now. But Friday, just less than 24 hours later, Todd Rokita, on behalf of...
The show was Thursday.
Yeah.
Rokita and the moronic happened on Friday, dear.
That's what I said, right?
No.
What did I say?
You kept saying the show was Friday. And then just one day later.
Well, yeah, because it's in the evening. So that's what I meant. So
okay.
the ruling came out. The ruling came out Thursday. We were off Friday. 24 hours later, on Friday, is when Todd Rokita, on behalf of Diego Morales, filed a notice of appeal. Okay, here we have the notice of appeal. We'll add this to the screen here. We'll do this so you can see this. This is the notice to appeal. Diego Morales, in his official capacity, is the shortest attorney, Secretary of State ever. And the Indiana Election Commission and Amanda Lowry, I don't know which one you pronounce that, how you pronounce it as. In her official capacity as some jerk-off Jackson County Republican party chair, he's filed this notice to appeal, so it's going to the Supreme Court. Now, this does not take away from what the judge, he's not taking away, it's not taking away from what the judge did on Thursday. And I feel very strongly that the lower court's opinion will be upheld. I strongly believe that. So basically, Thursday going into Friday, going into the weekends, politicos across Indiana were reeling after Marion County Court's decision last Thursday said that the 2021 election law was unconstitutional. Now, that law is Indiana Code 3827A4. Give me 1 second here. We've got this pulled up. I want to let you guys see this. I want you guys to be able to see this here. All right. I'm going to blow this up here so you guys can see it. Well, can you see this? Yes, you can. Okay. So the entire code is 3827. Here are the parts of the code A4AB, which are in question. All right. And so as we go down through this, the parts that are bolded and in italics is the part that's going to be in question. The declaration of each candidate required by this chapter must be signed before a person authorized to administer oaths and contain the following information. All right, the candidate's name, printed, typewritten, that's okay. Candidate wants to the candidate's name to appear on the ballot, okay. The candidate's name is permitted to appear on the ballot under 357. Candidate must specify by designation described in this code each designation that the candidate wants to use that is permitted by this following code. A statement that the candidate is a registered voter and the location of the candidate's precinct, township, or ward, if applicable, and city or town, county, and state. Just common sense things. A candidate's complete residence address. That's important. And the candidate's mailing address, if it's different from the residence address and mailing address. All right, now here is what is in question. A statement of the candidate's party affiliation. All right, that has always been there. You've always had to say if you're a Republican or Democrat. For purpose of this subdivision, a candidate is considered to be affiliated with a political party only if the following applies. All right, now here is where we get sideways. A, the two most recent primary elections in Indiana in which the candidate voted were primary elections held by the party with which the candidate claims affiliation. If the candidate cast a nonpartisan ballot at an election held in the most recent primary elections in which the candidate voted, a certification by the county chairman under Clause B is required. So, if you want to run, let's say that last Thursday never happened. If you want to run for office in 2024, the law as it stands a month ago said, if you want to run as a Republican, you needed to have cast a primary vote in 2 consecutive primaries up to this one in the Republican primary. So you needed to vote primary Republican ballot in May of 2023, and you would have needed to do that in 2022 as well if you want to run as a Republican in 2024. Or if you wanted to run Democrat, you would have needed to vote Democrat primary election in 2023 and 2022. If, my friends, you voted Democrat in 2022, but then in this year's election in May, you voted Republican, and then you want to run as a Republican in 2024, under this law that was voted on by the Indiana Attorney General or Indiana General Assembly in 2021 and went into law in 2022, you would not be eligible. See, before 2021, you only needed to vote in one primary. The primary before the election. So when, it's real simple. No one had a problem with that. But what happened was the Republicans got greedy. The Republicans became afraid that they were going to be challenged after the disastrous 2020 that we had. The Republicans were afraid that their asses were on the line, and they were. They were on the line. You want me to tell you why I know? How I know they were on the line? Because I sat through the most horrible, disgusting thing that I have ever witnessed. I sat through 7 hours of these idiots down here, the Indiana Election Commission, kicking people from the ballot, violating all of these people's constitutional rights.
Now, these are just state level offices for information purposes.
Yes. Yep.
So this is anybody wanting to run for representative.
Yes.
7.5 hours of throwing representative candidates off the ballot. Then you've got the county ones, and you went to some of those as well.
Well, that's what I was going to say. This is just one day. This is just one day, 7 hours down in Indianapolis, watching them kick candidates off that wanted to be state representatives, that wanted to be state senators. And they said, oh, no, no, no. They violated a lot of people's constitutional rights. But as Kate said right there, I also attended the election board meeting in Delaware County. I attended it in Randolph County. I attended it in Henry County. I attended it in Madison County. I think I attended it in Blackford County. And I want to say, in every one of those election boards, someone was removed from the ballot because of this horrendous law that went into effect under the cover of darkness because some of our state representatives were scared that the citizens were pissed off because of the way that they chose to govern through the pandemic. That's exactly right. That's exactly right, Ryan Webb. It was the worst. It was the worst, most atrocious form of political gatekeeping that I have ever witnessed. This situation, this law affected. I've been away, so I'm going to be off screen a lot tonight. So if there's anything that's really good, Kate, star it, or if there's anyone, let me know. But I just see Civic Duty. Josh is here, and Josh, this screwed Josh out of running as a Republican this time. He ran as a Democrat and had a whole bunch of chaos. Matter of fact, he just did a show last Friday that if any of you have not watched that show, you might go back and watch. You want to hear about how this chaos affects people in real time. Go back and watch Civic Duty's channel from last Friday. He did a live show where he interviewed the Randolph County Democrat, the former Democrat Party chairperson, and that her name's Bridget, a friend of mine, a friend of Josh's. She has been embattled because she was not going to violate Josh's constitutional rights. She said, I want the people to have a choice. And so she did the right thing. So there were people that didn't like this, and there were people that got legal representation and that sued. But let me tell you what happened. By the time their cases went before judges, the election had happened and everything was done and over, and their cases were all denied because the judges said, well, this is a moot point. No. When our constitutional rights are being violated on the state level and on the national level, there is not a time where we say, oh, it doesn't matter anymore because, November came and went. So these judges didn't have the intestinal fortitude to do what was right. So we've been waiting for someone to do this. This affected Ryan's wife in 2022. Ryan's wife was going to run for recorder, and she was kicked off the ballot. 3 people, 2 of which are unelected. One is elected as clerk, but not elected as judge and jury and executioner and decider of the elections. But 3 people, 2 of which are not elected appointed members, decided the election that year in the recorder's race. Brandy Webb could have been on the ballot. The citizens of Delaware County, they could have voted and said, nope, I don't like Brandy Webb. But they never got that opportunity because 3 people made that decision prior to anyone in the public getting a chance to vote. It was gross. They kicked her off in favor of an unopposed ballot. That's the same thing going on here. Well, we're going to get into that we're going to get into that. We're going to get into that. All right. So what's interesting to me about this is last Thursday, this all came to a head because I'm going to tell you here why that came to a head. In a verified complaint for declaratory and injunctive relief that was filed. Okay. It's filed right here. You can see it right here. It was filed in September of 2023. John Rust filed it against the Secretary of State, who's the chief election officer. filed against the Indiana Election Commission and the Jackson County Republican Party chair. Now, Rust filed this because he wanted to be a candidate that would be eligible to be on the ballot for the May 7th, 2024 ballot. That's in several months. The official period to file isn't here until January, but in order to be a candidate for United States Senator, there's a lot of hoops you've got to jump through, folks. There's a lot of hoops you got to jump through. All right. If you want to be a city councilor, if you want to be a county councilor, if you want to be a county commissioner, if you want to be mayor, you have to be 18 years or older. You have to live in the area that you want to be the elected official in. You have to not have a felony, not have been convicted of a felony, and you have to file to run as a Republican or Democrat. Okay? That's what the Constitution says. The IGA, the Indiana General Assembly, in 2021 added extra requirements to that, which I have always said has been unconstitutional. Listen, I could have been this judge. I've been saying this for years. Kate's been saying this for years. Brandon's been saying this for years now. I mean, since 2021, 2 years, we've been saying this. Lots of people out there have been saying this. I sat right in front of Donald Rainwater. He's running as a libertarian for governor next year. And he was like, this is a disaster. I came here to watch these people eat each other. And that's exactly what they're doing. You've got Republicans fighting Republicans, Democrats fighting Democrats, people not wanting a free and impartial election where the voters decide. Complete and utter horseshit. Okay? Now, I want to say something right now. I am not a fan of John Rust. Okay? There's all kinds of questionable things about him. I haven't dug far into him other than what I already knew. I knew some stuff about him, which made me question him. I'm not talking about him as a candidate because he's not on the ballot yet. Once we get through this battle, then I will judge if I want him to be a senator or not. I'm not a big fan of Banks. I'm not a big fan of Banks for many reasons. But I got to weigh, do I want Russ? Do I want Banks? Do I want somebody else that might be on the ballot? Who knows? We'll find out. We're not there yet. This is not about my support for John Rust. This could be John Doe. This could be Nora Powell. And I would be praising Nora Powell's attorneys. What you've not ever heard me say, I'm praising John Rust. I'm praising John Rust. You've been hearing me saying I'm praising the judge for making the right decision. This is a thing that needed to happen no matter who made it happen. All right? I'm not talking about the candidate. I'm talking about the legal minds that are making this. I'm talking about the candidates' attorneys. The argument they laid out was chef's kiss. Okay? Rust gets credit for, having the balls to file the suit, but that stops there. Other than that, that's that. I will determine at a later date if I can deal with him being a candidate, if I want him to be a senator or not. We can talk about that later. So Rust calls himself and considers himself a lifelong Republican business owner who has been a lifelong Indiana Hoosier. Well, why in the hell can he not run? That seems like all you would need to be. He wants to run against Jim Banks. Jim Banks is a political insider. He's a current U.S. representative, okay? And some would say that the Republican Party is already in the bag for him, all right? I mean, that's clear as day. They already want him to be the senator. That's we're 100% sure of that. Okay, that's why this is going on. He is stating, Rust is stating that they have endorsed Banks, and that Banks has secured the endorsement of the Republican Party because of this unconstitutional statute. That in January 1st, 2021, the Indiana legislature amended the Indiana Code, section 3827A4AB, thereby rendering the majority of Hoosiers, forget Rust. With this law, they rendered the majority of Hoosiers ineligible to run for office because of voting record, because these other Hoosiers wanted to associate with who they wanted to associate and vote the way they so chose. The only way that Rust or any of these other Hoosiers would be able to then access the ballot would be to go to their home county party chairs. And we all know how that goes, right? The home county party chairs, those people are ridiculous. They don't want anybody to have access to the ballot who they haven't already handpicked. Rust's county chair emphatically refused to allow him on to the ballot, citing his voting record. All right. I have his voting record. His voting record is right here. Okay. Let's take a look at this. We come with the receipts here, ladies and gentlemen. In 92, in 94, we don't know if he voted. Okay, we can't see if he voted here. All right, let's go on. 95, he voted Republican in the primary election. Okay. In 96, well, general election, you can't tell. All right. So look up here. Through the early 2000s, it appears as though we can't really tell what he did. He didn't vote in many primaries. In 2006, he voted in a Democratic primary. Oh, no. In 2006, he voted then in the general election. In 2008, he voted Democratic again. All right. In 2010, Democratic. 2012, Democratic. 2016, he voted Republican. 2020, he did not vote because of the pandemic in the primary, but he's voted all of these times. He just didn't, he's not polled a Republican primary ballot. Now, you want me to tell you why that would be perfectly understandable? It's perfectly understandable if he lived in an area that was so Republican that they never contested one another, and they maybe had contested races on the Democratic side, or maybe he lived in an area that was so Democratic and everyone was Democrat, so it only made sense to vote. His answer here to this is that he voted for local friends that he knew from his church, people that he was locally friends with, but he offered up his political donations, where he's donated over $10,000 to Republican candidates for years. years and years. He's donated a lot of money. All of these entries here are political donations to Republicans. He's never donated to a Democratic cause. Never. Never. Okay, so he goes and he talks to his party chairwoman, someone who he has been friends with, who they've met and known each other on social media. They've been engaged with politically over the years, and she's never had a problem with him, never questioned him, never questioned the fact that he was a Republican, never questioned the fact that he was involved with the Republican Party until he wanted to run on the ballot against Jim Banks. Indiana Code 3827 creates a cycle of voter disenfranchisement. There are no choices on a ballot, so Hoosiers don't vote in primaries. Then Hoosiers are precluded from running for office because they didn't vote in primaries. What are you trying to get me to point to? All I see is, have they endorsed him? What's happening?
The chat, dear, the chat.
Oh,
Private chat.
Oh, private chat. Oh, yeah. I'm going to get to those numbers in a minute. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, sorry about that. Get back here to the comments. Okay. So February 2022, 8 candidates were removed from the ballot in that, in this horrible monstrosity that we watched. Now, there were a lot more than 8 that were removed, but they were removed for other reasons. There were candidates that were removed because they didn't get their signatures, and we'll talk about that in a moment too. But there were candidates that were removed because of residency, and I'm okay with that. There were candidates that were removed because of signatures. We'll talk about that in a moment. But 8 candidates were removed on the state level because of this horseshit law. 8. Not to mention the 2 or 3 that were removed in Muncie. Not to mention the 2 or 3 that were removed in Henry County. Not to mention the 1 or 2 that was removed in Blackford County. The 1 or 2 that was removed in Madison County. Folks, this is something that has affected me, and that's just around here. I know people all over the state of Indiana that this affected in 2022 and in 2023. Okay. Like I said earlier, 2 of those candidates brought suit, but it was after everything was over by the time that it was adjudicated, and the judge said, you know, it doesn't really make sense to do this. It doesn't really make sense to do what we're doing, so just go on about your business, okay? Well, Rust, who considers himself a lifelong Republican, who's donated over $10,000, who voted Republican in 2016 and has supported Republican candidates for years, and he doesn't hide the fact that he's voted for Democrats here and there. I've done the same damn thing. But isn't that our God-given right? Isn't that part of our First Amendment right? Isn't that part of our 14th Amendment right to be able to do that? Where does it say in any of the code in the Constitution that Ben Wells or that Amanda Lowry or that Ed Carroll or Victor Whitehead or Russ Willis or Tom Hyde can keep people from running? Where does it say that? I didn't read their names anywhere in the Constitution. In 2020, when Rust was unable to vote in the primary, because remember 2020 is when they moved it from May to June, and it was kind of a mix match kind of bag of nuts. No one knew what was going on. Everybody thought everybody was going to die. In 2020, you only needed to vote in one primary, and he had done that. So he thought he was good to go. He did not know they were going to change the law just a year later. The law was amended, and it was amended to be unconstitutional. According to the Pew Research, now, ladies and gentlemen, this is not political spotlight. This is not John Rust. This is not Republicans. This is not Democrats. This is the Pew Research. 79% of Hoosier adults identify as either Republican or Democrat. Okay? It's very, very, very important that you understand what I'm saying here, because this is where it really matters. Okay? Listen. Party affiliation among adults in Indiana. Okay? 42% identify as Republican or lean Republican. 37% identify as Democrat or lean Democrat. That's 79%. But only 24% of registered Hoosiers voted in the 2020 election. What's going on there? What's going on there? 79% identify Republican or Democrat, but only 24% of registered Hoosiers voted. As such, under the 2022 amendment, Indiana Code 3827A4AB, a vast majority of Hoosiers, approximately 81% of them, including Rust, including yours truly, including Brandy Webb, including Josh Kimbrell. I have to say probably including Kate Niles, including Audie. A lot of us, folks, would be ineligible to run unless we find favor. Oh, not Audie. I take that back. Audie doesn't fall in that mess. Audie's a good Democrat. Unless you find grace from the Kingmaker. Kiss the ring. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. You guys voted in the primary, but if you voted, because he ran Democrat in 2018, I'm just thinking you guys have flip-flopped your votes before, right?
We
I mean, you
have, but the
flip-flop back and
last,
forth.
we did the one where he ran Democrat in 2018. We've voted Republican since then.
Okay.
In
So
the
you guys would
primaries,
be good.
because there's no freaking choices.
There's no choice. Yeah. There's no choice. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
We've pulled the last few.
Okay.
No,
well,
we'd
and
be good.
being libertarian, it doesn't matter.
Well, hell, you got the former Democrat county chair got elected as a Republican.
I know, because the kingmaker signed off on him. So yeah, but as far as maybe the libertarian county chair, but as far as the state's concerned, I'm a Republican.
Yeah, right.
I'm a good Republican at that.
Right. Lowry expressed concern to Rust in their meeting in July of 2023 about the fact that he had voted in Democratic primaries. And Rust explained that those votes were for people he knew personally through church or other activities. They were people who were pro-agriculture. He further explained that he had never contributed to a Democratic candidate financially, and he also supported Republican candidates financially, and he always votes Republican candidates in the general elections. Lowry told Rust she would not certify him because of his voting record, a position she also reported to the Indy Star. She told the Indy Star that she would not sign off on any candidate that did not have the voting history in the two primaries. Well, wait a minute. If they have voted in two primaries, then you don't have to sign off on a candidate. See, that they are so full of themselves. When Rust formally announced, Lowry contacted him and said, "You're wasting your time and money. There is no way I will ever certify you." Without certification, Rust would not be able to check either box on the Can True form, which he needs. And if he does not check either box, he said that he felt that someone from his opponent, Jim Banks' team, would challenge his vote. And indeed, candidate Jim Banks' campaign team told the Indy Star that they would file a challenge against Rust. Why? Or can they not beat him? What are they so afraid of? Russ says he was just shocked because he had been part of the Republican Party for years, that he was friends with the party chair. They were friends on social media, and that they had socially networked for years. Although his opponent is calling him a Democrat now, even though before this there had never been any controversy surrounding the fact that he was a Republican. He and his attorney claimed that this was a First Amendment of the United States Constitution issue. Congress shall make no law respecting or establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances, unless you're in Indiana, and unless you're wanting to run against the Republican establishment. The Supreme Court of the United States of America has long held that the First Amendment extends to including freedom of association, including freedoms of political association and political expression. The First and 14th Amendment guarantees freedom of associate with others for a common advancement of political beliefs and ideas, a freedom that encompasses the right to associate with political party of one's choice. It is well settled that freedoms to engage and associate in the advancement of beliefs and ideas is an inseparable aspect of liberty that is assured to us by the Due Process Clause, and that this ranks among the most precious of our freedoms in our country, given to us by God. That this law that was passed by some idiots at the State House in 2021, going into effect in 2022, IC Code 3827A4AB, imposes a severe burden on the rights of free association, ballot access, and voting rights. It is not tailored to meet any legitimate, let alone compelling state interest. Denying Rust ballot access and put an asterisk by Rust name. Make it Brandy Webb. Make it Kristopher Bilbrey. Make it any one of the other 81% of the Hoosier population. Denying Hoosiers ballot access violates constitutionally protected rights freely associated with the Republican Party and to cast our votes effectively. That this ignorant law is overbroad, void of vagueness, because Indiana Party membership and certification are not statutorily defined. But in my estimation, probably the most brilliant aspect of their argument, ladies and gentlemen, what was absolutely most brilliantly laid out is the fact that Rust's lawyers argued that this violated the Constitution because of the 17th Amendment, and the court upheld their idea that the law was improper and it was an attempt to amend the state constitution because it put additional qualifications on an office without going through the constitutional amendment process. See, Article 4, Section 7 says that no person shall be a senator or a representative who at the time of his election is not a citizen of the United States, nor anyone who has not been for 2 years next preceding his election an inhabitant of his state, this state, and for 1 year next preceding his election, an inhabitant of the district whence he may be chosen. Senators shall be at least 25, and representatives shall be at least 21 years of age. That was amended on November 6th, 1984. All right. See, prior to the 17th Amendment being passed, in May of 1912, each state's legislative body selected the 2 senators from the state to go to Washington, D.C. So in 1910, Hoosiers would elect the mayor and would elect the commissioners and would elect the governor. But in 1910, the state legislative body would elect the senators. The citizens would elect the representatives, but they weren't smart enough, intelligent enough to select the senators. It was the General Assembly that did that. But in May 13th of 1912, the 17th Amendment was passed. The 17th Amendment ended that process and gave the job to selecting the U.S. senators to the voters where it should have been. Judge Dietrick rightly said that this law improperly took that right back from the voters and gave them to the state legislature, which was bad, or even worse, to party chairmen that are nothing and nobodies. Nothing and nobodies. Sorry, we're freezing up there. Hold on. Sorry, we're freezing up there. It's even worse. Okay. We're freezing up. Give me a second here. Okay, I think we're good now. What I was saying was, it's bad enough that they took it from the voters and they gave it to the legislative body. But it's even worse to think that they took it and gave it to the nobodies that were the state or the county chairs, because those people are no ones. Well, the Republican establishment couldn't deal with this. They could not deal with this. So they are challenging it now. They're challenging it. It's going to go before the Supreme Court. We will get a ruling at some point. I believe that this is going to go pretty quickly. I don't know exactly when this will be going. But although a lot of politicos thought that this was a massive political earthquake, it's the aftershocks that really got everybody going. And one of those aftershocks was the following question. What about having to get signatures to get on the ballot? If you're a candidate running statewide, okay, the requirement that candidate must get signatures of 500 registered voters in each congressional district. All right. Have you ever heard this? Do you know this? Have you ever heard this before? Let me pull this up here and let you see this. Okay, give me a second. Here is Indiana's congressional districts. This is the U.S. congressional districts. There are 9 in the state of Indiana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Where I am is in District 5. Indianapolis is District 7. Some of you are in District 6. Some of you are in 3. Some of you are wherever, all over. Some of you aren't even in Indiana. But for those of you that are in Indiana, if you want to run for a statewide office or for a federal office that is a state off the U.S. senator or something of that effect, you have to get 500 registered voters, secure, legitimate voters in each of the districts. However, for those of us that have been doing this for a long time, for those of us that have been doing this for a while, we all know that you need to get 3 times that amount. So if you really want to be a candidate, to be U.S. Senator or U.S. congressional candidate or governor or something else, you have to get 1,500 registered voters in District 1. You have to get 1,500 registered voters in District 2. You have to get 1,500 in 3 and 4 and 5. Because what will happen if you only get the 500 that you need? They always throw out half of them, saying that they're not registered, they're expired, they've moved, they're, one reason or another. They always play that game too. Because they're all cowards, folks. It all comes down to them being cowards. It all comes down to them being cowards. Well, it's important to understand that this latest ruling had nothing to do with this. The court did not address this issue. It only addressed what's known as the affiliation requirement, whether you voted in 2 primaries or you had sign off of the party chair. Okay, it did not deal with the petitioning requirement. And the petitioning requirement has been challenged multiple times. However, Judge Dietrick wrote on page 14 of the 27-page opinion, he wrote the following response to the state's argument that it had a compelling interest to keep Rust off the ballot. All right? Listen to what the judge wrote. While these asserted state interests may be compelling, Indiana Code 3827A4AB, when overlaid with the totality of Indiana's ballot access statutory framework, is not narrowly tailored to achieve those interests. That is, if Rust is unable to timely complete the petitioning requirement, i.e., collecting at least 500 signatures of registered voters in each of Indiana's 9 congressional districts for a minimum totaling 4,500 statewide, that will be evidence of an inability to garner a modicum of support within the party. Indiana Code 3827A4AB does nothing to achieve this asserted state interest. The code is therefore not narrowly tailored to achieve the state's interest in ensuring candidates have the sufficient modicum of support before being placed on the primary ballot. The court seems to be hinting in that paragraph that the signature requirement might also be unconstitutional, at least in Dietrich's mind. However, that part of the statute was not challenged yet. It's definitely something that I'll be watching. I've never, ever, 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 ever liked the signature situation. It's totally ignorant. It makes no sense. And it's just an extra step to cost people money, because here's what happens. When the big, powerful Republican establishment rolls through with a candidate, all they got to do is dump people out saying, go get signatures, go get signatures, unless you're banks, and then you don't need to get signatures. But if you're a grassroots person where money is tight and, you know, getting from one end to the state is tight, resources are tight, bodies are tight, that's tough. Even with this court decision, I still don't see how it's going to prevent the parties themselves from being so involved in the decision of who runs or doesn't. Well, Stumblefoot, basically what happens is if the Supreme Court comes back, the state Supreme Court comes back and says if they uphold the lower court's decision, basically what will happen is it will go back to how it was pre-2022, and literally anybody can run at any time. I mean, you know, it goes back, and it's an easy thing. It takes that away. There's so many people that get so hung up in this whole party politics thing. I hear people all the time say, I feel like I need to go in and have a sit down with Ed Carroll. I need to go in and have a sit down with Ben Wells. Listen, I don't have a problem picking up the phone and saying, yo, so-and-so's going to run. I hope you enjoy it. Let's have a good clean race. I don't have a problem telling people, giving them the courtesy, the respect to say, hey, we're going to be running against you. But I'm never going to be for asking anybody. Ask your husband, ask your wife if you can run. Ask your team, ask your support staff, your support people. You don't ask for permission. Ooh. When did that happen? Diego Morales got pulled over for speed. 10/30/23. And he didn't get out of it? That's crazy. That's hilarious. The only people you should ask is your family. Yeah. You pass it off with your husband, your wife, your significant other. You ask them how they think about it. You know what I mean? Maybe if you work someplace, you might pass it off with your boss. Hey, yo, you care if I get political for a little bit? But at the end of the day, I don't know. So I sent out an email to lots of people. I sent out emails to Ed Carroll, Jessica Piper of Delaware County Republican, Anna Cork Hunter of Delaware County Democrats, Russ Willis of the Madison County Republicans. I've not sent out the email to the Democrat yet. I need to send out an email to the Democrat side. I sent out email to the Republican and Democrat in Henry County. I sent out an email to the Republican in Randolph County. I haven't sent out the Democrat because Randolph County currently doesn't have a Democrat Party chairman. They have essentially killed the Democratic Party in Randolph County. And I sent out questions to all of the clerks of those counties, asking how this law was going to change things for them. I sent that out. I sent a couple out Friday. I sent a couple out yesterday. And I sent 2 out today. The only person that has responded, let me tell you, I'm going to look back here right now. Okay. The only person that looks like has responded so far has been, let me go back one more page just to double check. I get so many freaking emails, it's not even remotely funny. Oh man, that's not even to yesterday yet. Holy crap. Okay. All right. Yeah, no. Okay. So I've only received back one response. And the response that I received back was from Delaware County Anna Cork Hunter. And it's interesting to me because she is an attorney. So it kind of makes sense that she would be following this as a court case. So the email that I sent out to everybody reads as follows. It's just a real simple, it's not a real big, long draw thing. Hello, blank party leadership, or hello, county clerk is what I sent. So to all of the Republicans, I said, hello, Republican Party leadership of Henry County, of Delaware County, of Madison County. I'm not certain if you have heard of the breaking news or not, but I wanted to send you this following information so you would be aware. December 7th, 2023, Marion County Superior Court Judge Patrick J. Dietrich has ruled that the election law requiring Hoosiers to have voted in 2 consecutive primaries as either Republican or Democrat to run is either run as either Republican or Democrat or get signed off on by an unelected party boss is unconstitutional. You can find the entire story along with the 27-page ruling and order by Judge Dietrick below. I am curious if you have any thoughts on this and or if your party would be handling things differently moving forward into the 2024 elections and beyond. Or do you have anything else to add? The only thing different is with the clerk's emails, I sent everything I sent there, along with, instead of saying, how would your party be handling this? How will you be handling this as the chief election officer of blank county, Delaware County, Marion County, Henry County, whatever. So that's how I sent it. And then I also let them know who else in the county I'd send it to. So the clerk of Delaware County, I let know that I sent it to the Republican and Democrat. And the Democrat, I let know, so I let everybody know who was answering. Anna Quirk says this. Hello, thank you for your email. Yes, I was aware of this decision. It is my understanding that the statute was passed by the state legislature in response to a Republican statewide representative's husband being challenged for prosecutor by someone who had switched parties. I'm not too upset by eliminating this rule. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. That's very telling. That is very telling. So, listen again to what Anna Quirk Hunter had to say. Okay? It's my understanding that the statute was passed by the state legislature in response to a Republican state representative's husband being challenged for prosecutor by someone who had switched parties. I'm not too upset by eliminating the rule. Well, there you go. I appreciate Miss Anna Quirk Hunter for getting back to me. And yeah, I mean, that takes some balls. I'm really amazed that she responded back to me and responded back so quickly. So I'll give her the credit. Do I think that I'll hear back from Ed? I do not think I will hear back from Ed. Do I think I will hear back from Jessica? I do not think I will hear back from Jessica. Do I think I will hear back from Ben Wells in Randolph County? I do not think I will hear back from Ben Wells. Do I think I will hear back from the clerk in Delaware County? I do not think I will hear back from the clerk in Delaware County. These people are some of these people are elected officials, and I won't hear back from them. What in the hell? Absolutely crazy. It's just nuts to me. It's nuts that these people are doing this. Will I hear from Russ Willis, Republican chair? Russ Willis has responded to me one time, and it was way back in 2020. Let me see if I have this email from him. Because I normally don't get rid of emails. No. I don't know why I wouldn't have it. He sent me one email response back. I bet I know why I don't have it. I bet I know why I don't have it. If he responds back to me, Catherine, I will. Hell, if he doesn't respond back to me, I will definitely ask him that. I have no problem asking him that. Catherine, do you know the name of the Democrat chairman in Madison County? I'm on another screen here, just in case. Is it Vivian Sade? Did I say that right? Oh, really? Okay, interesting. I did not know that. That's interesting to me. Okay. Well, that's yeah, I see that right here. Terry Austin. Interesting. Norman Rayford is the all right. Okay. Interesting. Well, I will send them this email and find out if they get a response. If I get a response from them. That is interesting. I did not. How long has that been? That's interesting. Oh, okay. Well, that's why. So yeah, I'm very interested in to see how this plays out. I too would not be upset if the signature requirement was challenged. I know that a lot of folks have said that that it has been challenged before, and it's always came out unscathed. To me, it has to be across the board. Are we allowing other requirements that are not part of the Constitution? Yes or no? If we're not, then we need to remove everything and we need to leave it as it is. If someone wants to waste the time and money to run without having party support, that's on them. That's on them. As Kate says here, adding more people to the ballot is never a bad thing. That is never a bad thing. Now, I've been talking to Brandon. I don't know when, but Brandon and I are going to be doing a show here coming up soon. The state representatives and state senators have their surveys out. For anyone that's interested in doing some political work from your home, on your laptop, from your phone, it's real easy. All you have to do is type in, go to Indiana General Assembly and look for your state representative. Go there, and then underneath their name, it'll say, take my survey. There are really important questions in there. For example, under J.D. Prescott's, he actually has a question about straight ticket voting, And I'll tell you, I've been looking through there because Brandon and I are going to do a show on this. And there are several representatives who are asking about straight ticket voting. And I've never seen this many people do that in the past. I'm kind of shocked at how many people's doing it. So that's really interesting to me to see what they're doing there. Now, do I think they're going to put some kind of bill forward to do away with this now? I don't think that. I don't think that at all. But I think it's interesting just to see how many people are now starting to look at it. We're not going to get this looked at in a real way until we get some real honest to God normal human beings there. We need to get people like Kurt Knisley back in office. Even John Jacob, I don't agree with everything Jacob did, but I could agree with more of him than less of him. I agree with more things about him than I disagree. But we need to get some actual honest to God patriots back at the State House, and we might have a chance. Another thing that they're passing back and forth, a bunch of them is the question about should we drug test welfare recipients, and then that led to a couple people talking about, well, wait a minute, why are we talking about this before we're talking about legalizing marijuana? And so that I have a couple of sources that I've heard from that said there have been some unpleasant conversations between some representatives and some of their staff and some representatives and each other about this. So for all of you that are, listen, I'm big in the marijuana should be legal situation, and I'm not a smoker. I don't care anything about it. I wouldn't smoke it. I'm not just, marijuana is not for me. Even if it is even if it's legal, it's not for me. I still think it should be legal. I think that is going to start happening. It's not going to happen this year. Probably won't happen next year. But I think that the tide is starting to turn. The other thing I wanted to add to you guys before we leave here tonight, I got to edit that out. The other thing that I wanted to add to you before we leave is about this LEAP situation, the water deal over in the west side of the state. The whole situation with trying to pump 100 million gallons from the Wabash River in Tippecanoe County down to Boone County in Lebanon. A report came out today, and we're not going to look into this all crazy, all big and heavy right now, just because I want to go through this in a timeline type of scenario. We're going to be talking with a city councilor from West Lafayette. Kate and Brandon and I are going to be talking with him this week, and we're going to be plotting out a show. We're going to be having a show with him coming up in about 2 or 3 weeks into the new year. We will do a show with him where we will put everything together and let you guys hear what's going on, or at least everything that we currently have. And by then we should have a little bit more information, but I want to show you a report came out today. This is the Citizens Action Coalition turning on citizen power. Report proposed LEAP project in Boone County reveals severe deficiencies in Indiana's water and economic development policy, December 2023. This is an 18-page report. If you're interested in taking a look at this ahead of time, you can go to www.citact. So it's citact.org, 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 and look this report up. It's very interesting, very telling, and this is going to be interesting. I was texting a little bit today with a couple people from up in Lafayette and that whole area in Tippecanoe County, and they are so fired up about this. Construction's already started. Everybody is really doing a good job of coming together and trying to fight this, but everyone has this sense of it doesn't matter what we do. There is no way we're going to be able to stop this. We're not going to be able to stop it. That's what people...
They already spent money on it.
Yeah, right.
We'd hate for that money to just go to waste. Fuck the environment. Fuck the farmers. Fuck anybody who's on that water table. We spent money on it.
We spent money on it. And that's a very political type of thought, you know. We're starting a job in, I'm not even going to say that, tomorrow. Damming a creek to replace a section of water main. That's hilarious. Petersburg. Where's that at? I've never heard that. Petersburg. Interesting. Y'all don't need to worry about that. Ohio is going to reroute their water where they wanted it to go. They wanted to go. That's probably real good. That's a real good thought. You know, I was talking with my grandfather the other day, and he was like, "Why won't Ohio be mad at us?" And I was like, "Because the water flows from east to west. So the water's coming from Ohio. It's already passed through Ohio. They're wanting it once it's into Indiana." And he was like, "No, it's flowing." That we had a great big argument, and I didn't know. I guess I didn't know that. I just assumed it flowed the way I thought it was, and it did. We looked it up. It was flowing the way that I thought. But we were talking about that too. Who needs water anyway? Let me tell you this. I have oftentimes told people that I have a serious fear of running out of water. Like, this is a fear of mine. One of my most favorite things, it's very like ASMR, that's a big thing, is to listen to water being poured, or to watch videos of water, or to look at pictures of like a glass like being slammed down on the table and the water sloshing out of it. I love that, but I'm always afraid of, if you're ever with me, what I do is I collect water bottles in my car during the winter, because if you do this in the summer, then the plastic gets the chemicals that give you cancer, so you can't do that in the heat. But I am very, very concerned with water, and I saved all of these water bottles because periodically we'll run out of, I'll run out of water in the refrigerator, and I'm like, oh my God, I got to get to the store. But I always know I have 10 to 15 water bottles in the car that are of all different levels of finished. So I'm always afraid of running out of water. That is definitely a fear. We use don't go chasing waterfalls. The Paul McCartney version, not the TLC version, Joe Black. And for all of you that didn't know, Paul McCartney wrote that song. If you don't believe me, look it up. That is serious. All right. I think that's gonna do it for tonight. I'm really pissed off, folks. We got to keep on this. Just because this is going to court, does not mean you cannot, you don't have to just lay low. You can tell your state representatives, we think that you guys did a shitty job on this. You guys need to fix this. They can always go back in and fix this and make it a non-issue. They could always fix this. Now they won't, but yeah, no stay filed in the appeal yet. You know what's interesting to me about that is like Kate said, she's surprised that they didn't file like a stay, and to stop the injunction because nothing's happened. All they did was file the appeal. However, it is Todd Rokita. So, I don't know. I don't know what he's doing. And Catherine said earlier, I think she was saying that maybe Diego wasn't the brains behind the operation. Someone else had to be behind the operation. And she's exactly right. It's the Republican establishment. It's Todd Houston. It's the IH. What is that? The IHCCR, the Indiana House Republican Caucus. It's all of those evil turds that are involved with this. So this is not a Diego issue or even a Todd Rokita issue. This is people beyond them, and they're just doing the heavy lifting for them. So yeah, that's Joey. That's exactly right. We are paying Rokita to attempt to defend the law. Fuck us. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. When you contact your state representative to make sure you have a list of all the things they've screwed up. Hey, Catherine, at least he doesn't have that far to fall. It won't hurt him. He's like your toddler falling down. It's like, oh, okay, they'll be all right. He'll be all right. Hey, before we got to go, this is the postscript. You want another Diego story? You want a Diego story that just tells you what this little man is? So the big rumor mill has been going around and around and around, I guess, since after Turkey Day. The rumor mill is that Diego is suffering from something that psychologists like to refer to as, are there any kids watching? Christmas tree envy? That's right, folks. Secretary Morales is not happy with the size of his office Christmas tree. It's smaller than the rest of Christmas trees in that all of the other offices have around the state house. So he's been throwing a fit because he doesn't like that his Christmas tree is so small. It was interesting because it got brought up that when Connie Lawson was Secretary of State, she purchased the Christmas tree and all of the office decorations with her own private funds. But sometime after that, they were like, oh, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. No. Now the trees have been procured by the Indiana Department of Administration. So he's getting this tree from hard-earned Hoosier tax dollars. I'd say you be happy with the size of your tree. Sit back and shut up. You get what you get and you don't throw a fit. But you know how it is to be a little man with a little tree. They get them from all over farms in Indiana. I guess it's good because, you know, they're paying back to these farms. So I guess that's better than nothing. But these trees are then randomly assigned to various office holders. Leave it to Morales to complain that his Christmas tree isn't as big as the other office holders. What's interesting to me about this is I want to know, did they do this to him on purpose? Were they like, we're going to give him the smallest tree possible? You know, I used to have one of those old music stands that like you go and you get from like the dollar store. It folds up. It's one section. It folds down and it's got like the wire here and the three legs. And me and my dad would tear it apart. We were just two bachelors living in a 30 by 30 house. We always called the Academy. And we, instead of having a Christmas tree every year, we had this tree that had really skinny limbs and had some like pine looking needles at the ends of it. And we would always go break one of the limbs off, one of the really ratty looking limbs that had a couple forks in it and it had a couple of those pine needles. And we would always jam it down inside that music stand. And we for years, I mean, from the time that I was 5 or 6 until Dad moved out, until Dad moved into when he got married, when I was like 18, we always put up a Charlie Brown Christmas tree, and it was always amazing. I love doing that. I'll have to see if I get a picture of it. It's amazing. But yeah, so that's just a little end of the evening rumor gossip, which is 100% true. Look, I'm not being funny. I'm not being joking, and I'm not trying to be like all innuendo-y. Like, I'm being really serious. Diego is throwing a fit that his Christmas tree is smaller than everybody else. And it's just goes to show you what Kate just put here. What a petty little bitch he is. It's absolutely amazing to me. I love it. Oh, man, I can't wait until we get to vote him out and we can all say, go, Diego, go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Hey, share this show. We need to spread the word about what we were talking about tonight. I have some record requests into the city of Muncie and into Delaware County. I've got some responses back from them, letting me know that they're working on them. Hopefully we'll have those back because we've got some good information. And I've also got some other city and county-wide news for you as we get ready to get into a really weird, wonky time because we're going to hit the Christmas season and not much is going to happen. So that kind of sucks. I did get this text message here. Hold on one second. I got this. Clerks had their meeting at the state to go over changes to election law today. maybe tomorrow. I'm not sure they will be discussing this then. Oh, this is interesting. I just got a text while we were live here that said clerks and or election board members, election officials had a meeting at the state to go over changes to election laws today. I wonder what for. I'll look into that and see what I can find out. We'll have more to that. We'll have more on that maybe tomorrow. I'll let you guys know what goes on there, and we'll see what goes on. You guys have a good evening. Have a good tomorrow. I was going to say have a good start to your week, but it's Monday. I'm a day off now, so we're going to be thrown off all week. It's Monday night. Tomorrow's Tuesday. Have a good Tuesday, and I will see you back here tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern. I just got a text that said it's an annual thing, so this had nothing to do with the law, but we'll find out. We'll try to find out what they heard or what they talked about. That'll be interesting. And we will be looking for your sheriff, John Mark, updates very soon. You guys take care. God bless. Have a good evening. And if I can find the thumbnail, I will say, happy birthday, Indiana and Stumblefoot, you bastards being 207 years old apiece. Good night, and God bless. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.